No, today is not a gaming video. Today, I wanted to talk about the controversy surrounding two very new cars, the Tesla Cybertruck and the Ford Mustang Mach-E. So for those of you who don't know, I am both a Ford owner and a pickup truck owner, and I think because of that, you guys have been blowing up my Instagram DMs asking for my opinion on both of these vehicles. Which, by the way, if you want to go and follow, there's a link down below. I post some really cool stuff on Instagram. Anyways, if you've been living under a rock recently, this entire past week, people have been getting up in arms because Ford has decided to call their brand new car a Ford Mustang when it most definitely isn't. And just last night, Tesla announced the Tesla Cybertruck. Let's jump into it and give my thoughts on these two brand new vehicles. Let's start it off with the Mustang Mach-E. Before we jump into the whole name debacle though, I thought we should jump into the specs just to get an idea of where this car is coming from. The base one is rear-wheel drive, has about 250 horsepower and can do 280 miles on one charge, which is pretty decent. The most expensive one is actually all-wheel drive, has 460 horsepower, which is really good. Can do 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds, which is kind of insane. Prices range from $45,000 to $60,000, so everything there is kind of standard. Nobody actually has problems with any of that. All of the problems surrounding this car involve the fact that Ford has decided to call it a Mustang. Now, I'll be honest, I can see where people are coming from. Usually Mustangs are big V8 5.0 liter, usually doing a burnout or a drag race, and occasionally having a slight problem with a crowd leaving a car meet. We won't get into that last one though. I mean, it's safe to say usually Ford Mustangs aren't the car to do a school run in. However, I will be honest, if I had a Ford Mustang, I would drive it absolutely everywhere. So now people are kind of annoyed because that's what Mustangs used to be. However, as you might have noticed in the car industry, things are changing. Big old performance cars and trucks are ditching their big engines for smaller engines. Just take a look at my very own Ford Raptor. Back in the day, big old V8. Now it's a V6. The same can also be said for BMW. Just take a look at their BMW M cars usually ditching V8s now for V6s. And as well, the same can be said for Mercedes C63 and E63. For those of you who don't know, the 63 in those names stands for 6.3 liter engine. Fun fact, the E63 and C63 that are made right now have 4 liter engines. I'm just gonna say, I appreciate the commitment to your naming system, Mercedes. So I don't know if it's the time just yet that we're gonna see an all-electric Mustang, however, that would be pretty cool. Calling a crossover a Mustang is kind of where you start to lose people. However, it does actually make a lot of sense. You have to imagine if you're Ford and you want to jump into the electric car market, your biggest competitor is Tesla. When people think of an electric car, they immediately go, oh, a Tesla. If Ford wants to break that stereotype, they need to come out swinging with their own name, which is why they went with the most recognizable Ford of them all, the Ford Mustang. For example, just take a look at what other car companies have done, like the Nissan Leaf or the Chevy Volt. If Ford had gone and called this something like that and gone with like, oh look, it's an electric car that means nothing, I wouldn't be making this video, we wouldn't be talking about it at all. Other car manufacturers have clearly tried it before and have failed at taking down Tesla, so now it's Ford's chance to try it with an all-new strategy that hasn't really been done before. Will it work? We'll have to see. So many people are talking about this car right now, and so many people are kind of interested in it and looking at it and going, hey, that's actually a pretty cool car. Hey, that's actually not a bad price. Hey, it actually has pretty good specs. Anyways, I think the big takeaway from all of this is that I think the Ford Mustang Mach-E will actually do pretty well, and if Ford is trying to take down Tesla with their electric car, I think this is gonna be their best chance of doing it. Sure, maybe the name will bother a couple of people, but at the end of the day, will they sell more cars calling this a Ford Mustang? I think so. That's enough about the Ford Mustang Mach-E though. Let's move it on to the Tesla Cybertruck. This absolute abomination of a truck. What? Where do you even start? So again, let's jump into the specs before we jump into this. We've got the base one and the most expensive one. So the base one is rear-wheel drive, 250 miles for 40,000 bucks. Very, very similar to that Mustang Mach E. The most expensive one though, that's where things change up a little bit. We've got all-wheel drive, can do 500 miles on one charge, 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds. The Tesla Cybertruck has some great ground clearance as well. It's got air suspension, and if you live in the US, it's also bulletproof. On paper, this is something I would buy instantly. I love the idea of a fast truck, which is why I went out and bought a Ford Raptor. However, anybody who thinks this car looks nice, hold on. I think this is what the Tesla Cybertruck looks like. I mean, to be fair, the only thing that I would kind of worry about this thing with is just if you're rock crawling, for example, and if a rock punctured the underside of the car, you could potentially puncture one of those batteries, and if you puncture a Tesla battery, things don't usually go very well. It usually ends in a big fire. So that's something to worry about. However, I would imagine Mr. Elon Musk has thought of that and put something underneath to make it very, very strong so that doesn't happen. However, I didn't see anything online about that. I think it's pretty safe to say, though, that this thing is an early prototype. For example, there are a couple of things on this vehicle that definitely wouldn't pass for safety standards. One, you definitely need wing mirrors. I know Elon's trying to sort that whole issue out and use cameras and stuff, but as of right now, you do kind of need them. And two, you also can't have big light bars on, like they had a lot. I found out the hard way in my Ford Raptor when I had my light bars on, and then a cop pulled me over. Anyways, it's just a bit of a strange looking car. There's actually a reason why most car companies don't make cars that look like this. So you know that triangular roof, how it has like a point on the top? Most car companies don't do that because it actually ruins the rear headroom. Just take a look at the BMW X6. That is a big SUV, and if you're an adult, you probably can't fit in the back seat just because you'll keep banging your head on the roof because it comes slanting back like that. The interior of the Tesla Cybertruck is also bare, to say the least. I know Tesla's doing this a bunch. The Tesla Model 3 that I actually ordered back in the day is the same thing. Everything goes through that center screen. However, in big trucks, there's a reason for why all the switches and buttons are so big. It's because sometimes when you're driving your truck, you're gonna be wearing gloves, and if you want to mess around with any of the switches like the aircon or the stereo or whatever, you want to be able to mess around with those things while wearing your gloves. Now, unless you're wearing those funny gloves with the little pointy fingers on them, I don't know how it works. I've not tried it myself, but there's that reason as well. And I mean, that same roof actually runs all the way down onto the bed, which is just kind of an awkward look. They do actually have a very, very cool picture on their website where it has solar panels on that entire bit, which is super cool. I actually love that. Super smart. At the end of the day, though, if you are Tesla, you are going up head to head with not only the Ford F-150s, the Silverados, everything like that. You are going head to head with the Rivian, the all-electric car that has backing from Ford as well as Amazon. Although their car hasn't come out yet, they've got money being pumped in like crazy, and they're gonna do some very, very cool stuff with this. I think it actually looks really good Rivian pickup truck. I did actually read as well that the Tesla Cybertruck will also be used on Mars. Yeah. And that actually makes a lot of sense why it has cabin pressurization. So basically the pressure inside is different to the outside. I mean, I don't know why you'd want that on your daily driver. Like, it makes a lot of sense if you're going to Mars, but I don't live on Mars. I don't want to drive a Mars rover every day. I mean, if you want to invite me out, NASA, I'll definitely give it a go. But do I want to go get my groceries in one? Nah. Anyways, all this to say again, will people buy the Tesla Cybertruck? Maybe? I mean, maybe the design will grow on people. I mean, it's kind of cool if it was like for a video game or something. It'd be really cool. But as a daily driver, maybe not. I don't know though. We'll have to see. However, Tesla did actually show off the really, really cool ATV. I want to know how you can buy one, because I want one. I don't know. Maybe the Mustang Mach E name will be a huge flop and everybody hates it and nobody will ever buy one. And maybe something will happen and the Tesla Cybertruck will suddenly become the best looking car ever made. I don't know. We'll have to see. Those are my thoughts. I hope you enjoyed. Go follow me on Instagram for more. See you guys soon.